is time for another prompt draw. So let's pull 3 prompts on here and see what we get. First one, thank you. Looks like I'll be making a thank you card. Metal flakes, that's awesome. I have some metal flakes that I recently bought that I haven't used yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And let's do one more. Ooh, a 3x5 card. All right. So I'm going to be using an old 3x5 card, thank you card, and metal flakes. Let's see what I'm going to make. What do you think you'll make? I've decided, since I'm doing 3x5 cards that have stuff on them already written up, that I want to do some mixed media layers. I'm going to work with a few different 3x5 cards. I don't know how this is really going to work out. We're doing this kind of in real time. So I think what I'm going to do is start by taking these little scraps of scratch paper that I've used to clean off my brayer as I am working with my gel plate. Oh, I'm trying to open up my matte medium here. Super hard. There we go. Okay. It's pretty thick. I'm glad I'm using it. And I'm going to use that to adhere these down without really a whole lot of rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. So I'm going to take an old brush here. Matte medium can be really hard on brushes, so you certainly don't want a brush that's precious to you to be one that you're using. Take a little bit of this Bob Ross gesso. I like this gesso because it's a little more liquidy than some, and a lot of times I don't want to get like a full opaque coverage. I'm just really kind of shooting for something a little bit more, well, not opaque. Trying to find a brush that will work for me here. Okay, this one will do. So I don't think I'm going to go over everything with gesso, but I do think I'm going to go for this one around the non-painted parts. It's still sticky. I don't think it's quite dry yet. The glue, that is. All right, on this one, I'm just gonna do like a light dry brush cover. And then take a paper towel and pick some of that up. So some of that color pops through. Just kind of muted it. I wasn't loving that card as much, but that's okay because I'm not really going for a particular look. So I grabbed some acrylic paints here, and Now that I have kind of collaged these, not kind of collaged them, I have collaged them, but pushed back the image, the colors a little bit, I'm going to bring them back out a little bit. I'm going to go for a couple different techniques when trying out this gold foil. So this is the gold foil. I'm going to be using the metal flakes. It's kind of a copper color with a little bit of green. So I have not used it yet. I did think about the fact that Tombow Mono Multi-Glue, when it dries, is still sticky. So I did look it up, and I did find something on Tombow's website that said that you can use it with foil and gilding flakes if you let it dry completely. So I think what I'm going to try to do is use that with this stencil. I'm going to take a makeup brush, and I'm just going to pat off the extra and pat through that stencil. And I'll look and see if it's visible. It's there. You can't really see it, but it's there. Let's do a little bit more. Definitely going to want to dry off or wash off my stencil because, like I said, it dries sticky, the glue does, and we really don't want my stencil to be sticky. So what it said on the website is that you have to set it aside and let it dry all the way. So I'm going to do that and go wash my stencil. Okay, while that other one's drying, what I decided to try on this one is to use this sticky embossing powder from Ranger. This is pretty old, and I'm not sure it still works. I mean, we're talking like 7 years old, which is a long time for a sticky embossing powder is my guess. I don't really know. But I'm going to try that. And I decided, you know, I have lots of stamps I've bought, but I also have stamps that I have carved. So I'm trying to decide which one of these hand-carved stamps I might want to do in gold. So I use my homemade stamps differently depending on what's going on. I think this time I'm just going to go ahead and ink it up, put it down, and then use this thing. Its name is escaping me right now, but it can help you get a nice clean impression with your carved stamp if you don't mount them. Sometimes I will put removable adhesive on them and use them in my MISTI. Just want to make sure I've got that covered. Okay, let's hope this works. Let's see. Might be too detailed of an image. Some of my scratch lines showed up, but that's okay. I kind of like that with the gold. I think that'll look cool. Here's what I've learned about this embossing powder. If you overheat it, it loses its stickiness. So it is really important to just heat it enough that the embossing powder melts, but not so much that you overdo it. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this. I'm going to get my heat gun really hot before I put it onto the embossing powder. I've got a stiff brush here, and I'm just going to take those metal flakes. Okay, my air conditioner's going, and it is making it fly all over the place. All right, so I'm just putting it down. Obviously, I didn't do anything technical, just threw it on there, and then used a brush to brush it in. I think that the Tombow glue might be dry enough. Let's see. Yep, okay. Let's give that a go since I have it out. Oh man. It's weird because there are multiple colors in this pack, but it's mostly this gold color, which I'm kind of intrigued by. Looks like I got a little too much glue right there. Either that or I smudged it. Oh, you know what? I don't think it was dry everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, I think I might have smudged it because it wasn't dry all the way. It's kind of a cool look, the way it's sort of a pattern, but sort of not. I want to give this guy a little bit more TLC, get him a little more cleaned up. I really like the way that came out. So I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to do down here. If I'm going to maybe write thank you, stamp it, do a die cut, what I'm going to do. This is going to need something. And this is a great background, but it's not a focal point in and of itself. All right. I'm going to try a different approach, I think, with this one. For this one, I've got this tape, this two-sided tape, and I think I'm just going to put some lines on here. Put a bunch down and go. You could do something similar, by the way, with I think all of these techniques with foil. You know, like the, let me grab some, you know, like deco foil. I think you could do any of these techniques with that as well. Need a little bit more right here. Now that I have this stuff, I think I'm going to try doing something with it on my nails. So those didn't end up completely straight, but that's okay. I'm not really going for perfection here, clearly. Clearly, I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for colorful and organic looking, sort of. See, this is what's strange about this gold leafing. There's like a little tiny piece of a darker color there and a copper color there, and the rest is all gold. Like the colors are few and far between. Or maybe that's just what was at the top, because when you look at the bottom here, it looks like it's got much more variability. So this is, by the way, from Pentart. They have lots of different types and combos and colors and that kind of thing. So it'd be fun to try out some other mixes of that. I decided with these two cards I want to try a couple new techniques using products I used on the others, but just in a different way. So I'm going to take this card here, and I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad, and I'm just going to lightly run it down. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen on this, but just, you know, I'm letting it just very lightly drag on that. So now I'm going to dump the sticky powder on this. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and brush some of that off so there's not quite so much of that embossing powder on there. Taking a cheap brush, a stiff one. This would be good for, say, stippling or working on a stencil. And I'm going to take some of that Tombow Mono multi-glue, just squeeze a little bit out right there. And I'm going to just very lightly brush that on here and there. I think I've had autofocus on this whole time, and if that's the case, I'm really sorry, because it's very irritating to watch things go in and out of focus. Probably going to need more than this. I'll just start with what I got. Cool. It looks like I brushed gold onto it. I'm really rubbing hard to get any loose flakes off.